Black Ops 6 is here, and with that, a bunch of new controls that you're going to have to learn with the brand new Omni Movement system. As a person who was a complete and utter disbeliever in the fact that Omni Movement was going to change the way that we played the game, I have been proven pretty wrong, as it is actually one of the more fun ways that the game has changed over the years. And today, with that, I'm going to give you the settings that you're going to need to get the most out of the Omni Movement while still being a hyper-accurate player. We're going to go ahead and get into the settings and get moving on through. As you're going to see here, we are on controller. So obviously there will not be a lot of questions about that, but let's get into it. The first thing that I'm going to recommend is tactical flipped, as that still gives us the ability to slide, dive, and all of the stuff on the stick, moving away from the B button. This is going to be great for anybody that's rocking a stock controller. Of course, I'm rocking my Thrustmaster eSwap X2. This is the X2 Pro, using the brand new Hall Effect sticks, which, if you aren't familiar with Hall Effect, it basically removes the ability to get stick drift inside of your controller. These things are beauties, and we'll talk about more of those later. Then, with that, we go to the default layout, just because I like normal settings on that. Because of the Hall Effects, I've been able to bump my sensitivity to 20 and 20. I don't recommend this for everybody. I'm going to say probably a 10-10 all the way down to a 5-5 is probably a good sweet spot. This is going to be one of the ones I'm going to recommend playing a little bit with. I'm going to recommend starting at 7-7, as it's a high enough sensitivity to be able to react to anything, especially in this fast movement meta that we're in right now, but also still controllable enough to be able to get what you need done without too many problems in the way. I'm going to recommend not turning on simplified controls, low motor strain, or bumper ping. All of these are just things that I don't think are that important right now, unless you are, of course, a little hard of using your hands. The simplified controls can help a little bit with that. But for the most part, as long as your hands are working normally, you should be able to be fine using the other settings instead. I have swapped over to using left bumper and right bumper for my engagement. So this is for my ADS and for my gunfire. It gives you the feel of the instant clicks that you would normally get on like keyboard and mouse, but you get them on a controller. And because I am a claw player, you can see I will reach up and over from bumpers straight over into the buttons, because I've been playing controller for a while, and before we had access to all the back buttons on controllers, that was really your best way of doing things. And so I'm still stuck a bit on the claw gameplay. Next, controller vibration is off, though it's cool to get a little bit of a visual or more of a feel of your kickback when you're getting shot. Generally, this is going to just make people jump and miss their shots, so turn it off. It's not important. Hall Effect sticks, again, on 0-0 for my minimum on my dead zone, because there is no stick drift, which means I do not get any issues from that. I'm going to recommend most players are going to probably stick between a 3 and 5, unless you manage to grab yourself some Hall Effect sticks, which I would recommend highly. Then I have mine set to max here. This is just giving me the ultimate control. This is going to be the ability for me to be able to react quickly and make fine motor motions all the way to the edge of the sticks, allowing for the best control possible. Left trigger, right trigger at 10s, because again, I'm using them for tacticals and for lethals, so I want them to act almost instantly, but not get bumped and accidentally frag grenade myself. Once we get over into aiming, we're going to get the sensitivity multipliers. I left all these at 1.0. These are pretty standard, especially as this game is right now. You don't need a whole lot of different changes. One of the big things that I can recommend is ADS sensitivity multiplier, dropping this down to 0.8. This is going to give you a little bit more control over the long range shots. And then when you do the focus, I'm going to recommend dropping that to 0.8 again, and this is going to give you 80% of your 80% whenever you hold your breath. This is how you're going to be able to really dial in those long shots, and this is going to be most important when we get the Warzone integration later to come. But this is going to be about what I recommend. All of this I'd leave alone because I'm not really a vehicle player, and I really don't see much of a reason to adjust it over there. No look inversion. I'm not an inverted kind of guy. Aiming and vet settings, I still rock the instant. We did have the bug in the beta where you had to run the gradual. Instant is back and working. Instant is perfect. That means the moment you start ADSing, it's immediately going to start taking into effect your sensitivity changes. That's the one I recommend. And then aim response curve, I'm still a big fan of dynamic. Dynamic gives me a little bit more room to make mistakes up close without punishing me on my long range shots as well. Again, linear is going to be the most controlled, meaning that it's going to be the one that if you stick a lot of time into it, you're going to get the most one-for-one return on it. But dynamic is for those that just want to play and have themselves a good time. Because we came over from Modern Warfare 3, I have lost all my custom sensitivities per zoom, and I've been doing perfectly fine. So I've been leaving that off, and if you want to go through and deal with that more, feel free to. Basically what it is exactly like I was showing you in the previous section, sensitivity multiplier of the 0.8 and 0.8, but this one just gives you the ability to do it across every different zoom on every different scope. Right now, I'm really running about 3 scopes, so I haven't had any issues with any of the scopes currently, but if that pops up later when we get over into Warzone, I'll make another video and let you all know what I'm thinking. Aim assist, obviously, especially now with the crazy dynamic movements, you're probably going to leave that on. It's just going to help you. Why not? Aim assist, again, same thing. This is for zombies and for campaign. If you really want to train yourself up, turn both of these off, go play some zombies. It'll help you train your actual aim rather than your aim assist aim, and you'll only get better from there. So leave these on to game, but if you want to train running campaign or zombies, go ahead and turn them off. Movement. This is a very big one. This is the one that has been the most defining of what this game feels like. And sprint assist has got a few people confused. So tactical sprint assist, it says forward movement input will activate tactical sprint. So this is basically your instant tac sprint. Whereas if you would turn it to sprint assist on, it's just regular sprint, and then you still have to activate tactical sprint. So this is the same as your instant tac sprint, but the difference is you now have these sliders, and a lot of people have been missing these sliders. The sprint assist delay, this was basically how long it was going to take before you started sprinting based on the time in which you were pressing your stick. A lot of people had this sitting at a default of about 200 milliseconds. That's not good. That means that every time you start moving forward, it's going to wait 200 milliseconds before it even starts sprinting. This is what was getting a lot of people killed, and this is what was really hurting people and making the game feel clunky. Turn on tactical sprint assist, drop that to 0, and then set these both on, and you will have so much cleaner, smoother combat, and you will really, really start feeling the power of the Omni movement. Cancel assist, I have it on. This just helps so that way whenever you are currently trying to get over something, you don't get stuck in windows, you don't get stuck on rocks, you don't get stuck on walls. It is a bit frustrating that you're going to accidentally mantle over stuff sometimes, but it's a lot better than when you're trying to get away from somebody or trying to chase somebody down and you get stuck jumping in a window for 3 to 4 seconds and get you killed. Crouch assist, never. I don't want to accidentally start climbing under stuff, losing momentum. It's a problem. Corner slice is one of those new things that I think a lot of people are going to undervalue, and it's going to mess up a lot of people until you get used to it. But this is basically, if you've ever played a tactical shooter, something like a PUBG all the way to a Tarkov, you have the ability to lean left and right, again, Rainbow Six. So one of those things that made that game really big was the ability to approach the gunfights however you saw fit. Corner slicing basically does that for you by default, and it's going to feel a little weird, but it's not going to change the way that your aim technically works. So once you get used to the corner slicing feel, this is a super useful thing to help keep most of your body out of the combat, making it a little bit easier for you to peek and not instantly get deleted, especially with the games currently TTK sitting between 200 and 300 milliseconds, which is lightning fast. This is going to be going a long way to helping you survive more gunfights. I personally am still rocking slide dive hybrid. That means I will slide if I am currently just sprinting and hit my crouch button, or if I'm holding my sprint stick down, my left stick down, and I hit the crouch button, I will dive. This just gives me better control between the two. If you use the tap to slide and hold to dive, or the tap to dive and hold to slide, you actually get a delay on your input, as the controller is going to be waiting to see which one you're doing. You hit it, you immediately think, well, he's going to slide. And then you've held it, and now he's like, well, now I got to dive. The game actually factor in those inputs. So by choosing to do hybrid or making it slide or dive only, you remove some of that delay, making a lot more faster, smoother inputs. And I just recommend getting used to hybrid. It gives you more options in combat. And once you get used to it, it's absolutely just amazing. The outplay amazing. Auto peek door works fine. Automatic airborne mantle works fine. This is just going to help you not fall off of stuff. It can get you killed sometimes, but it's better than falling to your death. Sprint restore and slide maintain sprint. Both of these are highly important, as I found that the sprint restore is going to get you back to moving faster than sitting there just slamming the stick over and over again. And then slide maintain sprint. This is going to help you get these smooth, buttery slide cancels that you're used to and you're going to want to have, especially again in such a hyper aggressive game. Parachute automatic behavior. This is going to be for those of us when we get to Warzone. Turn it off. You don't want to get caught on the fall end by an automatic parachute that just catches you in the middle of the air. You're hovering 3 inches over the top of a guy with a gun. This is going to get you done. You don't want that. Turn it off. Mantle cancels reload. No, I want to reload. You want to have your bullets. If you really need to cancel it, double tap your weapon swap. But having too many things that cancel your reload is just going to get you into a combat zone with no bullets in your magazine because you didn't realize that you hadn't already done it. Movement advance. Toggle. We don't need to be sitting here holding our stick over and over and over and over and over again trying to sprint. Toggle. Just do it. Click it once. You're good to go. Single tap sprint. Again, just once. Save your controllers. You don't really need to be doing anything crazy or fancy or changing this a bunch. Click it once. Run real fast. Go zoomy zoom. Combat. Hold. There's some of you that like toggle. I'm not them. Hold. Weapon mount activation, ADS melee. Dedicated melee activation, hold melee. Armor plates, apply all. This is going to help a lot in Warzone, but there is also the HVT mode. Apply all. This is going to make it, because you can cancel the plate inputs, but you can't make up for time lost by sitting there holding, keep trying to apply one plate at a time. C4 detonation, you want to blow them all up. Pew! Less buttons, better response times. Equipment behavior, hold. Someone was asking about this one the other day. Toggle will make you have to click the button once to pull something out and then press it again to throw it. We don't want that. Hold, let go, throw, less inputs, faster movements. Manual fire behavior, always leave this on press. There was a moment in Warzone where people were using hold and they were doing it so that way the burst weapons would continue to fire afterwards. It's not useful. There's a lot of implications that cause problems when you use hold. Things like the Moors wasn't charging, and there were some other guns that it was causing a bit of a shoot. It also makes a bit of a input delay. It makes your pistol shoot slower. Leave it on press. Even if you are slower than the max rate of fire, you're still faster than the hold. Combat advanced settings, focus behavior is hold. This is just holding your breath. Ping for me, I love ping up on D-pad, super useful. Change zoom melee. This, I actually set it to melee because what it does is it prevents me from accidentally changing zooms when I'm in a tense gunfight whenever I have a variable scope. So change it off your stick over to melee, unless your stick is melee, in which case go back to the beginning of the video again and swap it back to tactical and then come back and set this in melee. The rest of the stuff is pretty easy, straightforward stuff. Prioritize finishing move. I don't know how many people want to do body shield, how many people want to do all that, but I like my finishers. I'm going to do prioritize finishing move and then double tap. If I can get my body shield, I'll go for it. Then, of course, the last things to note is, again, this is my eSWAP Pro X2, and it is using the Hall Effect sticks. And I can't be talking about this controller a bunch without showing you what makes it run outside of Call of Duty, which is the Thrustmaster app. If you are on PC or you're on Xbox, this is available for you on both sides. And this is the ability to go through and make these adjustments to the controller so that way it's saved on its motherboard so you can take this anywhere and it's ready to go. Meaning if you like to set up all your stuff inside the controller and you don't want to mess with a bunch of stuff inside the game that's not necessary, you can go and do it right here. The controller is completely programmable, meaning you can go through and replace almost every button on the controller with a different button. So if you wanted all of your face buttons to be the arrows and all your arrows to be your face buttons, fine, send it. Also, another thing to note is you can actually swap out the sticks and the D-pad on the X2s and allow you to put them in any configuration you want, whether it be an Xbox or a PlayStation style configuration. I'm running mine in the PlayStation configuration just because I like the symmetry, but obviously if you like the Xbox style, it's completely doable as well. You can actually go in here and set your own dead zones and your own sensitivity curve. So this is a linear curve. I keep the linear curve on the controller just because it's easier to have linear here and the dynamic in game rather than do dynamic in here and linear in game, linear or whatever. I'm basically leave mine linear to start with because this allows me the greatest level of flexibility when I swap between games. Again, it says in here, lower than 3% can make mini-sticks more responsive but cause unintentional movement or drift. So mine are set to 3, but with the Hall effect, you can actually set these all the way down to 0 and you're still going to see no issues. It is a Hall effect stick. Triggers, I have mine set to just that little bit, just a little bit of in. I don't really need much. You'll see mine are 20%, 80%, which means I only have to move a little bit here and there. Makes the triggers go off perfectly. Vibrations, mine are set off, again, because vibration just tends to cause people to pull off their shot. And again, this is the Thrustmaster app. You can use it for any Thrustmaster controller and customize your settings so that way if you need to, you can take it on the go without any problems. But thank you all for checking out the video. If you have any questions or you have anything else you want me to cover settings-wise, let me know. I'm here to help. We will be continuing to make more videos on how to improve your gameplay and, of course, just show you some tips and tricks on how to either complete the camo challenges that I'm working through right now on the streams daily, or when we get to Warzone, I'm going to show you how to get yourself your first win inside of whatever new maps are available to us. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, peace.